Hello, I'm so excited to do this. My name is Chuck Sutton. I hope you're having a good day. And today we get to talk about one of my favorite tools in making music, the frequency shifter. If you've never seen it, it looks like this, and it sounds like this, and it sounds like this, and it sounds so cool. You can put it on drums, vocals, percussion, the entire song. Anywhere I get to put frequency shifter, I somehow make it work. Ableton Live is about to update to 11.1, and they're turning the frequency shifter into this. Completely revamped, new controls, and they also have real-time pitch shifting now built in, which Ableton has never had. It makes me so happy. If you don't produce and you're watching this video, having pitch shifting in real time is such a lifesaver. I mean, okay, wait, I need auto-tune. Can you hear this? Okay, cool. So watch these effects down below. I can just do this for you in real time. Just in real time. Anyways, I'm so excited because this video is sponsored by Ableton. I freaked out when I learned about this new plugin revamp and I tweeted out about it. About a week later, Ableton hits me up and they're like, "Hey Chuck, we saw your tweet. We'd love for you to make a video. Let us know, how you use the plugin, educate people on how to use it themselves, and come up with some cool creative stuff." And I was like, "All right, sure, yeah." A day later, the next morning, I made functional lightsabers in Ableton. I don't know how else to phrase this. I called all my friends immediately. No one believed me. I know you don't believe me right now, so I'm gonna post a little teaser snippet of working lightsabers. I'll explain how I made it later in the video if you stick around. I play with this thing like 20 minutes a day alone, just sitting there with the knobs. So, in this video, I'm gonna make some music for you without talking, just using the shifter so you can see it in my natural habitat. And then we're gonna move on to describing and breaking down every single part of it, how it works, why it sounds the way it does. And then we're gonna end the video with some beginner, intermediate, and advanced tips in which I'll break down the whole lightsaber effect. So let's get started. If you couldn't tell, I had lots of fun making this idea, so now let's go over how to use Shifter. The most important controls we want to focus on first are the coarse and window controls. Now these are modeled after something already in Ableton called texture warping. In Ableton, if you record a sound, you get access to a menu where you can choose different styles of pitch bending. The most natural one is called Complex Pro and it sounds like this. But then you have more interesting ones like texture mode. This one sounds like the recording was chopped up into little bite-sized bits called grains. The shorter the grains are, the uglier and atonal the sound gets. The longer the grains are, the more fluttery and repetitive it sounds. The shifter is basically texture mode in a box, so you can take it with you and use it in moments just like this.
Just like this.
To the right of the coarse knob, you have the fine tune. So in the Western scale, the 12-note scale, there's 100 cents in between each note. But there are notes and frequencies in between those, and you can find those with the fine tune. Check it out on these chords. If you want a stereo effect, hit the wide button and the fine tune will move differently between your left and right ears. If you're shifting something and it starts to sound harsher than you like, the tone slider does a beautiful job dampening high frequencies. It honestly feels more forgiving than a more stylistic low-pass filter. Next we have the pitch LFO. When you turn up the amount, the pitch will bend following the LFO shape you choose. For a sine wave, ooh, for a rectangle, ooh, and for a sample and hold, it's kind of hard for me to talk about. If you want to use LFOs in your music, try using a slight sine wave wobble on your chords, or even using the random slope for some slightly vintage effect on your synth pitch. Another new feature for these LFOs is something called the duty cycle, where I don't know how to explain it because it's math, but just watch this. When you have the rectangle and you mess with the duty C, it like slides over, and it does that for all the different shapes. So you can have some really interesting effects going on. Check it out. To be fully honest with you, the most exciting thing about this new feature is the pitch delay. Okay, so you turn up the feedback, it looks at the coarse knob, and whatever number it's set to, it keeps stacking notes on top of itself. The magic number is 7. Listen for yourself. Where it gets crazier is taking the delay time and just wiggling it with your hand. Some of the craziest sound design I've ever heard in my life just happened this month because I used this wiggle technique. Here, we'll use my voice right now. Wiggle. Another game changer is the envelope follower. I'm gonna put one next to my face. This is what an envelope follower is. And as you can see, the louder I get, the more this line moves up and down. You can have this line control whatever you want. They've built this into Shifter. So now, when it listens to my voice, bum 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 bum, it starts to pitch my voice up and down, depending on if you drag it up or down. On drums, this sounds incredible. Listen. The last two modes we haven't covered yet are frequency shifting and ring modulation. These things are almost easier to see than to understand just by ear. So in front of me there should be an EQ8, and we're going to play this saw wave through it. With regular pitch shifting, it respects the relationship between the frequencies. Watch this, it looks like it's being picked up and just moved to the right or left. With frequency shifting, it does not respect those spaces. You'll look at the sound and it looks like it's being squashed to one side or stretched and ripped apart to the other. Ring modulation happens, you've definitely experienced this. It's when you talk into the back of a fan and it chops up your voice. I'm the bad guy. Duh. Or you sound like Justin Bieber again. Ring modulation looks so crazy when you push it to its limits. Let's check back on that saw wave again and see what happens if we really crank ring modulation. All the little frequencies are just blooming out of it, and it sounds gross. We have one last new feature to cover, and it is the sidechain. Feature. What this means is you can link Shifter to MIDI. Let's go to MIDI. With this arrow at the top, I can access a new menu. From here, I choose a MIDI track, and now my keyboard is changing the pitch of this guitar loop. You can also adjust the glide time and pitch bend range, which turns any audio file into a synth lead. With all of these techniques combined, you can do some insane things, so we have to go into these tips. First will be beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I hope you've noticed throughout this video, but there are chapters letting you know which topic we're on, so you can skip through and learn at your own pace or go back and relearn things very specifically. Let's go on to these beginner tips. Each mode on the shifter has its own memory that you can switch between in real time. If you send some white noise through, you get some awesome glitch effects. If you want more intricate noise textures, try pairing up shifter and vinyl distortion. This effect has a crackle slider. If you turn it on for just a split second and then wiggle the delay, that 1 millisecond of crackling noise gets stretched and pulled like taffy. Pitch bending a single melody is cool, but you can also pitch bend entire chord progressions to get new flavors. Here's what the original piano sounds like. And this is what I get when I just tap 3 notes on my keyboard. It changes moods entirely. I recorded some drums through a FaceTime call, so they have absolutely no bass, but Shifter can help. First, I make a copy of the sound and then use an EQ to isolate the lowest part. In frequency shifter mode, turning down the fine tune gives us that boom while keeping the rhythmic control of the original recording. You can also stack shifters to make a choir out of one voice. Here's the sample with no effects. First, I open Shifter's sidechain menu, choose a MIDI track, and record some notes. Then I duplicate the shifter, make a new MIDI track, and repeat the process. It's that simple. I added some reverb, and this is how the choir sounds. Alright, let's talk about these lightsabers. So I'm chilling in my room, my roommate Johnny, shout out Johnny, turns on the vent, and I can hear it in my room, so I recorded it on my MacBook's microphone. And it kind of sounded like a lightsaber, but I needed to do a couple of things first. First, I cranked a saturator so it would sound more dangerous. Placing an EQ before the distortion meant I could push and pull the signal for movement. After a low-pass filter, I use Shifter for a Doppler effect. The LFO next to it resets the pitch every time I swing, and then I had a lightsaber. One lightsaber is attached to the chain selector, this floating blue line. The other one is attached to the speaker, going on and off. You can only hear the clashing effect if both lightsabers are fully turned, meeting in the middle like swords in real life. Thank you so much for watching. I don't think I have anything else to say right now. I'm so excited to do this video. Shout out Ableton. I had a blast working on this and just using this plugin. If you have any more things you want me to talk about on here, let me know. I can't do this too regularly at the moment, but I'd love to try. So you have a good day. Peace.